The hum of Seattle's morning traffic faded as I stood in my office, the Puget Sound sparkling through floor-to-ceiling windows. My name is Lydia, a 34-year-old marketing consultant who's clawed her way to success, turning pitches into profits with a smile that hides the grind. My life, like my desk, was meticulously arranged, a thriving career, a sleek downtown condo, and a husband, Nate, whose charm once made me believe we were unstoppable. 8 years of marriage had woven us into a partnership I thought was ironclad. Our condo a testament to late nights and shared dreams. But that morning, as I prepped for a pitch that could land my firm a $1 million contract, my phone buzzed with Nate's name. And everything I knew shattered. I stepped into the hallway, expecting his usual banter, maybe a quip about my caffeine addiction or a reminder to grab dinner. Instead, his voice slithered through. Cold and sharp, like a blade dipped in venom. "Lydia, I'm done," he said. No preamble, no softness. "I'm divorcing you. I sold the condo, so you'll need to figure out where you're sleeping tonight. Good luck." A dry chuckle followed, smug and final, as if he'd rehearsed this cruelty. My breath caught, my hand tightening around the phone, but I kept my voice steady. A skill honed from years of defusing client tantrums. "You sold the condo?" I asked, each word deliberate, masking the storm inside. "Yeah," he said, his tone dripping with triumph. "Tara and I are starting fresh. That place was too small for what we're building. She deserves better." Tara, his assistant. The name landed like a slap. Though I'd sensed her shadow for months, Nate's late nights labeled client dinners, his phone angled away when texts pinged, his excuses piling up like unpaid bills. I'd buried my suspicions, chalking them up to stress, but hearing her name, spoken so casually, like I was the one intruding, ignited something primal in me. My condo, our condo, was my sanctuary. Its open kitchen and sunset views a canvas for our life. He thought he could erase me from it with a call? "Sounds like you've got it all planned," I said, my voice cool, refusing to crack. "We'll see how that works out." He laughed again, oblivious to the steel in my words, and hung up. I stood frozen, the hallway's fluorescent lights buzzing above. My mind racing through 8 years of memories. Nate and I had been a team, or so I thought. We'd saved every dime for that condo, celebrating with cheap wine when we signed the papers. I'd ignored the cracks, his vague answers about our savings, his charm that deflected my questions, his growing distance. I'd mistaken his confidence for strength, not manipulation. Now, I saw the truth. He'd been plotting, banking on my trust to pull this off. The office chatter felt distant as I sank into my chair, the pitch deck on my screen irrelevant. Nate's words looped in my head. Divorce, sold, Tara. Each one a betrayal, but the condo stung deepest. It wasn't just a home, it was my victory. Proof I'd risen from a small-town dreamer to a Seattle power player. I'd chosen every detail, from the walnut floors to the art on the walls, while Nate nodded along, content to bask in my success. And now he thought he could sell it out from under me, laughing like I'd roll over and vanish? No. He'd miscalculated, and badly. My mind flashed to last spring, when we refinanced the condo to lower our payments. Nate, always impatient with paperwork, had agreed to transfer the deed to my name alone, a move I'd pitched to streamline our taxes. "Whatever saves us money," he'd said, signing without a glance. I'd handled the details, assuming he'd check if he cared. He didn't. That deed was my shield now. A secret he'd overlooked in his arrogance. He couldn't sell what wasn't his, and the divorce he crowed about? I bet my corner office it was a bluff, a scare tactic to push me out. Nate wasn't just betraying me. He was underestimating me, and that was his first mistake. I canceled my morning meetings, my fingers trembling but purposeful as I dialed Zoe. Tara, the divorce threat. Her silence was brief, replaced by a fierce edge. "He's delusional. Give me his email and phone. I'll check his digital trail." I sent her the details, my pulse steadying. Zoe wasn't just a friend, she was a weapon, and I was arming her. While she worked, I paced my office, replaying Nate's smugness. Tara's role burned, but I pushed it aside, focusing on the condo. I'd painted its walls myself, hosted friends on its balcony, built a life Nate now thought he could auction off for his mistress's dreams. The audacity fueled me, turning shock into strategy. I opened my laptop, pulling up our mortgage records, confirming the deed in my name. It was real, ironclad, a lifeline Nate didn't know I held. If he'd sold it, he'd done so illegally. And that was a thread I'd pull until his world unraveled. Zoe called back, her voice a mix of disbelief and glee. He's sloppy, Lydia. No divorce filing in the county records, total bluff. The condo sale? He emailed a sketchy broker about a cash deal, but it's not finalized. No signature from you, no sale. And get this, he's been wiring small sums to an account in Tara's name. Probably for their new life. I laughed, sharp and bitter. He's planning a penthouse he can't afford. Zoe snorted. Exactly. I'm digging deeper, but you've got leverage. Call Claire. Claire, my lawyer and college roommate, was a shark in heels, perfect for this fight. I laid out Nate's betrayal, my voice calm but laced with fury. He sold the condo? She repeated, incredulous. He's dreaming. That deed's yours, Lydia. If he's taken a deposit, he's committing fraud. She promised to draft a letter to Nate and the broker, voiding any deal and outlining his legal peril. Keep him in the dark, she advised. Let him think he's winning until he's not. I hung up, my resolve a blade honed sharp. Nate's call was meant to crush me, but it had woken something fierce. I thought of our early days, his grin as we toasted our condo, now a lie I'd dismantle. The office clock ticked toward noon, but I wasn't going back to work. I grabbed my coat. Heading home to our condo, Nate's things still cluttering my space. He'd come home tonight, expecting a broken wife. Instead, he'd find me ready, armed with truth and a plan to burn his betrayal dash. Seattle's afternoon light poured into my condo, glinting off the walnut floors I'd fought to keep. Yesterday's phone call from Nate. My husband of 8 years, still burned in my ears, his smug declaration of divorce, his claim he'd sold our home, his casual mention of Tara, his assistant, who he'd chosen over me. My $200,000 condo. My sanctuary was the heart of his betrayal, but he didn't know the deed was mine alone, a detail he'd signed away without a glance. I'd spent the morning arming myself with Zoe, my tech genius friend, confirming his divorce was a sham and his condo sale a fraud, and Claire, my lawyer, drafting a letter to bury him. Now, as I stood in my kitchen, sipping coffee I'd brewed myself, I wasn't the broken wife Nate expected. I was a woman ready to strike. The condo felt different today, its open layout both familiar and foreign. Nate's jacket still hung on the rack, his coffee mug sat unwashed in the sink, traces of a life I'd thought was ours. I'd built this place, chosen every detail, the cream sofa, the abstract art, the balcony where we'd toasted milestones. His attempt to sell it wasn't just theft, it was erasure, a bid to wipe me from our story for Tara's shiny new future. But I wasn't vanishing. Zoe's call came as I tidied his mess, her voice crackling with urgency. Lydia, I hacked deeper into Nate's emails. He's been promising Tara a penthouse in Belltown, funded by his condo sale. There's a deposit, $50,000, already wired to a broker, but it's shaky. No deed, no deal. My pulse quickened, not with fear but with clarity. He's spending money he doesn't have, I said, picturing Nate's smug grin. Zoe laughed, sharp and fierce. Exactly. And Tara's in deep. Emails show she's picking out furniture, thinking it's a done deal. I also found a draft to his boss, hinting he's quitting for a better life. He's burning bridges, Lydia. The audacity floored me. Nate wasn't just betraying me. He was gambling everything, his job, our savings, his future, on a lie he thought I'd swallow. I glanced at the deed on my counter, my name bold and unyielding. Keep digging, I told Zoe. I want every dirty secret. Claire's email pinged next. Her letter to Nate and the broker attached. Sale's invalid, she wrote. Lydia holds sole ownership. Any deposit is fraudulently obtained and legal action awaits. She'd copied Nate's work email. A subtle jab to rattle him. I smiled, imagining his face when it landed. He'd come home soon, expecting me to beg or crumble, but I was laying a trap. I tidied the condo, not for him, but for me, reclaiming every inch. His sneakers by the door, his cologne on the shelf, they felt like relics of a stranger, not a husband. The day dragged, my office pitch rescheduled as I focused on war. I checked our joint savings online, Zoe's hack giving me access. The $200,000 was still there, untouched despite Nate's offshore boasts, his plan stalled by his own sloppiness. I froze the account with a quick call to the bank, citing suspicious activity. The clerk's voice was crisp, professional, unaware she'd just locked Nate out of his fantasy. I pictured Tara, all confidence in designer bags, oblivious to the collapse coming. Her role stung, but I pushed it down. This wasn't about her, it was about him, and the life he thought he could steal. By evening, the condo was spotless, my armor polished. I poured a glass of wine, tested it out of habit, and waited. Nate's key turned in the lock at 7, his footsteps heavy, like he owned the place. He stopped short when he saw me on the sofa, deed in hand, my posture calm, but eyes blazing. "Lydia," he said, his charm faltering, "we need to talk." His suit was rumpled, his tie loose. A far cry from the man who'd laughed over the phone. Claire's letter had hit, and he knew it. "Talk," I said, tilting my head, my voice smooth but sharp. "You mean about the divorce you didn't file? Or the condo you can't sell?" His face paled, but he forced a smile, the one that used to melt my doubts. "You're upset," he said, stepping closer. "I get it. Let's figure this out together." Together. The word was a lie, and I wasn't falling for it. I stood, holding up the deed, its weight a weapon. "There's nothing to figure out, Nate. This condo's mine. You signed it over last year. Forgot that, didn't you?" He froze, his eyes darting to the paper, then back to me. "That's not how it works," he stammered, but his voice cracked, betraying him. I stepped forward, my smile cold. "It's exactly how it works. Claire sent you a letter today. Check your email, work email, by the way. Fraud's a bad look, especially for a banker." His hand twitched toward his phone. But he didn't pull it out, his panic raw. "You're blowing this out of proportion," he said, his charm slipping. "Tara and I just want a fresh start. You don't need this place." Tara's name was a spark to my fury, but I kept my cool, channeling every boardroom trick I knew. "Tara's expecting a penthouse you can't pay for," I said, leaning in. "That $50,000 deposit? The broker's been notified it's fraud. And our savings? Frozen. You're not as clever as you think." His jaw clenched, a bead of sweat on his temple, but he tried one last play. "Come on, Lydia. We've got history. Don't do this to us." "Us?" There was no us, not anymore. I laughed, soft but cutting. "You did this, Nate. You called me, laughed about ruining my life, thought I'd just take it. But I'm not the one scrambling now." He paced, his hands running through his hair, his control unraveling. "You can't prove anything," he snapped, but his eyes betrayed him, searching for an out. I set the deed down, my voice steady. "I don't need to prove it yet. Claire's handling that. But if you push me, you'll lose more than a condo." The room felt smaller, his desperation a living thing. My phone buzzed. Zoe, texting. Found Tara's bank records. Nate's been funneling cash to her for weeks. I didn't check it, not yet, but the timing felt like fate. Nate's phone lit up too, his face paling as he glanced at it. "Work?" he muttered, but I knew better. Claire's letter? Or maybe Tara, demanding answers he couldn't give. "Go ahead," I said, nodding to his phone. "Answer it. I'm curious what you'll say." He didn't move, his shoulders slumping, the fight draining out. I sat back, sipping my wine, my condo's walls a fortress. "You can stay tonight," I said, my tone final. "But tomorrow, we're done pretending. Think carefully, Nate." He stared, lost for words, and shuffled to the guest room, his defeat a quiet victory. I locked my bedroom door, my mind racing but clear. Nate thought he'd broken me, but I was just beginning. Tara, the broker, his lies, they'd all fall, and I'd be standing when they did. Seattle's dawn painted my condo in soft grays. But my mind was a storm, churning with Nate's betrayal. 2 days ago, his smug phone call, announcing a fake divorce and a fraudulent sale of my $200,000 home, had shattered my trust. Revealing his affair with Tara, his assistant. Last night, I faced him down in our living room, the deed in my name a blade to his lies. His panic when I mentioned Claire's letter, exposing his fraud. And the frozen savings account was a small victory, but his mumbled retreat to the guest room only sharpened my resolve. Zoe's text about Tara's bank records, proof Nate was funneling cash to her. Burned in my pocket. My condo, my sanctuary, was at stake, and today, I'd tighten the noose. The kitchen smelled of coffee I brewed myself, a ritual grounding me as I planned. Nate's things, his jacket, his mug, cluttered my space, mocking me. I'd built this condo, its walnut floors and Puget Sound views a testament to my grit, not his charm. His plan to sell it for Tara's penthouse dreams wasn't just theft. It was a declaration I was disposable. But I wasn't the one crumbling. Zoe called as I sipped my coffee, her voice electric. "Lydia." Tara's not just a sidekick. She's been emailing Nate's boss, pushing him to quit for a consulting gig with her cousin's firm. It's a front. Her cousin's a broker, tied to the condo deal. My heart raced, not with fear, but with clarity. So Tara's orchestrating this? I asked, picturing her smug smile at office parties, always too close to Nate. Zoe's laugh was sharp. Big time. She's got bank transfers from Nate, $10,000 already, for furniture. And get this, Nate's drafted a resignation letter, but it's not sent. He's betting everything on this scam. The audacity hit me like a wave. Nate wasn't just leaving me. He was torching his career, our savings, our life, for Tara's script. I glanced at the deed on my counter. My name is Shield. Find that cousin, I told Zoe. I want the whole web. Claire's update came next, her voice calm but lethal. The broker's spooked, Lydia. He confirmed a $50,000 deposit from Nate, but no deed. So he's halting the sale. I've warned him it's fraud. Your ownership's airtight. Nate's work emails blowing up. His boss wants answers. I smiled, imagining Nate's inbox. Claire's letter a ticking bomb. She'd added a line about potential criminal charges, a jab to keep him off balance. What's next? I asked. Keep recording, she said. Get him or Tara to slip. One confession, and we've got them. I nodded, my plan forming. Nate thought I'd cower. Instead, I'd bait them both. The office beckoned, but I stayed home, my battlefield now. I checked the savings account, still frozen, $200,000 safe. Nate's offshore bluff a failure thanks to Zoe's hack. My laptop pinged with Zoe's next find, Tara's cousin, Ethan. A shady realtor with a trail of failed deals. His email to Nate promised quick cash for the condo, no questions asked. My stomach twisted, but I felt a thrill. They weren't just greedy, they were sloppy, and I'd use it. I texted Zoe, track Ethan's accounts. I'm going to Tara. Tara's office was downtown, a glass tower where Nate worked. I'd avoided it for months, her presence a shadow I didn't want to face. But today, I dressed sharp black blazer, heels clicking with purpose, and drove over, my phone recording in my purse. The lobby buzzed with suits, but I spotted Tara at the coffee cart, her blonde hair sleek, her laugh too loud. She froze when she saw me, her coffee cup trembling. Lydia, she said, forcing a smile. What a surprise. Her eyes darted, searching for Nate, but he was at a meeting, Claire's letter keeping him busy. Surprise, I said, my voice smooth but pointed. I thought you'd expect me. Since you're planning to move into my condo. Her smile vanished, her hand clutching her cup. I don't know what you mean, she stammered, but her flush betrayed her. I stepped closer. My gaze locked on hers. Nate told me everything. Divorce, the sale, your penthouse dreams. Problem is, Tara, he can't sell what's mine. I pulled the deed from my purse, flashing it just enough to rattle her. You're betting on a fraud, I added, my voice low. Not a great look for you. Her face paled, but she tried to recover, tossing her hair. Nate's handling it. You're just bitter. Bitter. The word stung, but I laughed, cold and clear. Bitter? No, Tara. Prepared. Your cousin Ethan's deal is collapsing and Nate's deposit is fraud. Check your bank, those furniture payments are evidence now. Her eyes widened, her bravado cracking. You're lying, she snapped, but her voice shook, her phone buzzing in her hand. I leaned in. My smile sharp. Answer it. Might be Ethan, wondering why his scam's dead. She didn't move, her panic a mirror to Nate's last night. I turned to leave, tossing over my shoulder. Tell Nate to read his email. Things are about to get messy. The lobby's hum swallowed my heels click, but I felt her stare, her world tilting. My phone caught every word. Gold for Claire. Back in my car, Zoe texted, Ethan's account shows withdrawals to Tara. She's in deeper than Nate. My blood ran hot. Tara wasn't just complicit, she was pulling strings, and I'd just yanked them. Evening fell, and I was back at the condo, Nate's absence eerie. He texted, all charm. Let's talk tonight, babe. Miss you. Miss me? I scoffed, saving it for Claire. Zoe's next call was a bombshell. Lydia, Nate's been meeting a divorce lawyer, not to file, but to fake papers for Tara's cousin. They're planning to scare you into signing over the deed. My jaw tightened, fury mixing with triumph. They're desperate, I said. And sloppy. Zoe agreed, sending screenshots of Nate's emails, his lies piling up. I poured wine, tested it. and sat on my balcony, the sounds waves calming my pulse. Nate's key would turn soon, his lies ready to spill. I thought of our early days, his hand in mine as we picked this condo. Now a battlefield. Tara's face at the coffee cart, her panic, fueled me. They thought I'd fold, but I was rewriting their ending. Claire's detective contact was on speed dial, Zoe's evidence mounting. My condo mine forever. Nate's next move would be his last, and I'd be ready, my heart a fortress, my plan a fire ready to burn. The Seattle's skyline glowed amber as I stood in my condo. The Puget Sound a quiet witness to the fire in my chest. My $200,000 home, my sanctuary, was under siege by Nate, my husband of 8 years, who'd faked a divorce and tried to sell it for his mistress, Tara. Yesterday, I'd rattled Tara at her office, flashing the deed in my name and exposing their fraud to her trembling denial. Zoe, my tech whiz friend, had uncovered their plan to forge divorce papers through Tara's cousin, Ethan, to scare me into signing over my condo. Claire, my lawyer, had the broker on edge, Nate's $50,000 deposit flagged as fraud, our savings frozen. Tonight, at Nate's bank gala, I'd turn their lies into a spectacle, and they'd learn what happens when you cross me. The gala was at a waterfront hotel, chandeliers casting wealth over Seattle's elite. I'd been invited as Nate's +1, a formality he hadn't revoked, probably thinking I'd stay home, broken. Instead, I wore a crimson dress, sharp as my intent, my phone recording in my clutch. Zoe's latest find burned in my mind. Ethan had texted Nate, "She's on to us. Push her tonight, or we're screwed." Push me? I'd push back harder. Claire had prepped a USB drive with evidence, emails, bank transfers, fake papers, ready to hand to Nate's boss if needed. "Be bold," she'd said. "They're crumbling." The ballroom buzzed with suits and champagne, Nate's world on display. I spotted him near the bar, his laugh forced, Tara at his side, her gold dress clinging like ambition. Her eyes met mine across the room, widening with panic before she whispered to Nate. He turned, his smile faltering as I approached, my heels clicking like a countdown. "Lydia," he said. His voice tight. "What are you doing here?" Tara's hand gripped his arm, her nails sharp. I smiled, slow and deliberate. "Supporting my husband, of course. Or did you forget we're still married?" The crowd nearby quieted, sensing tension. Nate's face reddened, but he tried charm, his fallback. "Let's not make a scene," he said, leaning close. "We can talk later." I stepped back, my voice clear. "Talk? Like when you lied about divorcing me? Or selling my condo?" Gasps rippled through onlookers, Tara's flush deepening. Nate's boss, a stern man in a tux, paused nearby, his brow furrowing. I seized the moment, my heart pounding but steady. "You told Tara it was a done deal," I said, loud enough for ears to catch. "But you forgot one thing, Nate. It's my condo. Deed and all." Tara's voice cut in, shrill. "You're delusional." But her eyes darted, betraying her. I turned to her, my smile sharp. "Delusional? Or prepared? Your cousin Ethan's deal is dead, Tara. That $10,000 you took for furniture? It's evidence now." Her gasp was audible, Nate's hand dropping from hers. The boss stepped closer, his voice low. "What's this about, Nate?" Nate stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. "It's a misunderstanding," he said, but his charm was dust. I pulled the USB from my clutch, holding it up. "Not quite. Emails, transfers, fake divorce papers, your whole plan's here. Nate, want to explain to everyone." The room felt electric, eyes on us. Tara's face crumpled, her voice a hiss. "You set us up." I laughed, cold and sure. "No, you set yourselves up, thinking you could steal my home, my life." Nate grabbed my arm, his grip desperate. "Lydia, stop this," he whispered, but I shook him off, my voice rising. "Stop? You started it, Nate. You laughed when you called, thought I'd break. But I'm not the one falling apart." His boss took the USB, his expression grim. "We'll review this," he said, nodding to security. Nate's panic was raw, Tara's eyes brimming as she backed away. I didn't stop, my words ablade. "You wired $50,000 to a broker, Nate, for a sale you couldn't make. Fraud's a bad look for a banker." The crowd murmured, phones out, filming the collapse. Tara snapped, lunging forward. "You're ruining everything," she screamed, but a colleague pulled her back, her gold dress a mockery now. Nate's voice broke, pleading. "Lydia, we can fix this. For us. Us." The word was Ash, and I met his gaze, unflinching. There's no us, Nate. You chose Tara. Now you both pay. Security escorted them out, Nate's head low, Tara's sobs echoing. The boss turned to me, his voice quiet. I'll need your lawyer's contact. I nodded, handing him Claire's card, my pulse steady. The gala resumed, but whispers followed me, my victory spreading. In my car, Zoe called, ecstatic. Social media's exploding banker's fraud gala is trending. Tara's cousin's running. But Claire's on him. I smiled, the sounds lights blurring past. Good. They're done. Back at the condo, I stood on my balcony, wine in hand, tested safe. Nate's things were still there. But they felt hollow, relics of a lie. I thought of our first night here, his arm around me, now a ghost. Tara's panic, Nate's defeat. They'd thought me weak, but I'd torn their world apart. Claire texted, boss wants a meeting. Nate's finished. My condo, my life, was mine, and tomorrow, I'd seal their fate. My heart a fortress, my fight far from over. Seattle's dawn broke sharp and clear, the Puget Sound glittering below my condo's balcony as I sipped coffee, its warmth steadying my pulse. Last night's gala had been ablaze, Nate and Tara's lies unraveling before a glittering crowd, my USB of their fraud handed to his boss, their humiliated exit under security's grip. My condo, my $200. 000 fortress, was safe, its deed mine alone, but this fight wasn't over. Nate's desperation lingered like a storm cloud, and Tara's roll gnawed at me. Today I'd end it. Not with shouts, but with a blade forged from truth. The condo felt alive, its walnut floors gleaming under morning light, every corner mine. I'd cleared Nate's traces, his jacket, his mug, before bed, leaving only my art, my sofa, my life. Zoe's text buzzed as I dressed. Nate's boss suspended him. Ethan's been arrested, fraud and forgery. Tara's radio silent, her job toast. My lips curved. A spark of triumph. Claire's email followed, her tone crisp, divorce papers drafted. Nate's cornered, charges loom if he fights. Meet him at your place tonight? I replied, yes. My turf. This wasn't just closure, it was conquest. The day stretched, my office untouched as I worked from home, the balcony my war room. I reviewed Claire's papers, ensuring Nate walked away empty. No condo, no savings, no pity. Zoe sent a bombshell, a voicemail from Tara to Ethan, sobbing. Nate screwed us. Fix it, or I'm done. I forwarded it to Claire. My heart cold. The $200,000 savings, still frozen, would rebuild my dreams, not theirs. I paced, picturing Nate's gala panic, Tara's shrill denial, their world collapsing under my words. They'd underestimated me, and now they'd pay. Evening fell, and I set the scene. Deed on the coffee table, divorce papers beside it, wine poured and tested. Nate's knock came at 8, feeble, a shadow of his old swagger. I opened the door, jeans and a sweater my armor, no need for gala flair. He looked like a ghost, shirt wrinkled, eyes red, carrying a duffel like a man already homeless. Lydia, he croaked, stepping in, we need to settle this. His gaze flicked to the deed, then away, guilt raw. I gestured to the sofa, my voice calm but lethal. Settle? You mean sign over your lies? He sat, hand shaking, his charm dead. I didn't want it to go this far, he said, voice low. Tara pushed me, said we'd start fresh. I was wrong. Wrong. The word was too small for his betrayal. And I leaned forward, eyes locked on his. You called me. Nate laughed about stealing my home, planned a penthouse with her. You didn't just cheat, you tried to bury me. He flinched, rubbing his face, but I pressed on. Your boss has the evidence. Ethan's in cuffs. Tara's done. What's left to settle? His breath hitched, desperation spilling. I'm sorry, okay? We can work it out. 8 years. Lydia, that's something. I laughed, sharp and bitter, the sound filling my condo. Something? You sold my life for Tara's greed. 8 years, and you chose her. I slid the papers over, my voice steel. Sign. No condo, no money, no us. He stared at them, his hand hovering, then grabbed the pen, scribbling his name, defeat in every stroke. You win. He muttered, eyes wet. Happy now. Before I could answer, the buzzer screamed. Tara, unannounced, her voice shrill through the intercom. Lydia, let me in. This is your fault. My blood surged. But I buzzed her up, ready to end them both. She stormed in, mascara streaking, her coat slipping off one shoulder. You ruined us, she screamed, pointing at me. Then Nate. You said it was legal. Nate stood, voice cracking. You told me to push her, Tara. Their fight was chaos, a mirror of their broken plan, and I watched, my heart steady. Enough, I said, my voice cutting through. Loud enough to freeze them. Tara, you took his money, schemed with Ethan, thought you'd live in my home. Nate, you signed away your lies. I held up the deed, my condo's truth. This is mine. You're nothing here. Tara's sob broke, her hands clutching her purse. I lost everything, she wailed, turning to Nate. Fix this. He shook his head, broken. It's over, Tara. She lunged at him, shoving his chest, but I stepped between, my voice ice. Leave, both of you. Now. Tara fled, her heels echoing, Nate trailing with his duffel, no fight left. I locked the door, silence falling. My condo hole. Claire called, confirming the papers were filed. Nate's charged with fraud, Tara's blacklisted, Ethan's pleading guilty. You're clear. Clear. The word was freedom, my chain's gone. I walked the condo, touching its walls, memories of Nate's grin fading, replaced by my strength. Days later, I hung new art, my balcony glowing under stars. Zoe toasted me at dinner. Seattle's pulsars. To Queens, she said, and I clinked her glass, alive. My firm sword, clients drawn to my fire, the gala's fallout trending online, wife's revenge shocks bank. I kept the deed framed, a reminder of what I'd won. Tara vanished, Nate's name mud, my condo a beacon. I wasn't just free. I was Lydia, unstoppable, my empire eternal.